So Donald Trump has embarrassed the United States yet again. He was hosting Netanyahu in the White House, and I can assure you he did not ask Netanyahu about the recent war crimes that have been unearthed, right? That video that came out where Israel lied about those people being terrorists and those in that medical convoy and shooting the entire thing up and then just dumping their bodies in ditches. I can assure you Trump didn't address that. Trump has Netanyahu in the White House. No, he doesn't bully Netanyahu. No, he doesn't ask Netanyahu for a million thank yous. He actually pulls a chair out for Netanyahu. The CEO of anti-Semitism tweeted about it recently, so we're going to watch that clip. Trump is asked about whether more fighting in the Gaza Strip and more withholding of international aid is going to bring the hostages home and end the conflict. And Trump goes on this like unbelievably insane ramble-bamble about beachfront property and basically ethnic cleansing. Like, this is talking about it like he's selling a product. If we just move the Palestinians out of Gaza, no one lives there. Nobody wants to live there. It's just his claim now. He's just claiming nobody wants to live there. They're just dying to be kicked out. All of the surrounding Arab states just can't wait to receive a shitload of refugees. This nigga's just lying. But let's watch the clip, though.
For the Times of Israel, the IDF is fighting again in the Gaza Strip. I myself might be called up in a month. Do you think that's the way to pressure Hamas to get to a deal? And do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also an effective pressure tactic?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in, but having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place. It's you know what I call it, a great location that nobody wants to live in, because they really don't. And when they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems they have, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it. It wasn't this man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him very well. There's no way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out? Not good.
So Donald Trump is asked a question. This individual representing the Times of Israel asks him, do you think the increased raids and fighting in the Gaza Strip and the withholding of international aid is going to bring about some kind of ceasefire plan and a return of the hostages? Instead of responding like an actual responsible, competent statesman who cares about the logistics and the underlying science of handling a conflict like this. You know, what are the negotiations like? What is Hamas saying? Are they receptive? Are they unwilling to cooperate? Are they unreasonable? No, he just goes off into a tangent about the Gaza Strip being prime real estate. I want us to establish something here. When an individual speaks about the Gaza Strip being prime real estate, I want you to understand Donald Trump says this because Palestinians aren't people to Donald Trump. They don't exist. I don't know what Arabs did to Trump. I don't know what y'all did to him. I don't know if you stepped on his shoes. I don't know if you spilled something on his shirt. This man does not regard Palestinians in particular as people. I think the only Arabs he might respect are the Saudis. And that might be because they can give him shitloads of money. And they did. Donald Trump does seem to have a dehumanization problem with the Palestinians in particular. And I think Arabs in general. Donald Trump speaks about the Gaza Strip being beachfront property because that's all he views that land as and its people as. He views the people in Gaza as an obstacle to basically an international shrine to himself. This is why Donald Trump uploaded that nonsensical, deranged, like fever dream, satanic antichrist video of a golden calf statue of himself in the Gaza Strip with Elon Musk eating Hamas with garlic bread, dancing up and down with money raining down on rich white children. And like, I don't even know if, like, I think those like Iranian dancers. I don't even think those were Arabs. Like Iranian dancers with like beards dancing for like dancing on the beach and all kind of foolery. But this is how Donald Trump views these people, basically as obstacles, not even people, not even human beings. Netanyahu can walk into the White House and be questioned about nothing. Israel just got exposed for murdering a bunch of aid workers, claiming the vehicles they were in, the ambulance vehicles they were in, didn't have their sirens on. The video comes out to show the sirens were in fact on, the vehicles were not moving suspiciously, the workers were not acting suspiciously, and yet they were shot to death. Their bodies were just thrown into a big old ditch, and Israel just makes up a story about it. Nothing was asked of Netanyahu about this. Nothing. This is one of the most disgusting displays of diplomacy in this nation's history. Zelensky comes to this country and he's humiliated in front of the entire world. The man is begging for military aid, begging for support as his people are blown to smithereens. Netanyahu is given carte blanche to blow up everything in Gaza. And we don't ask him about a war crime? Just one? Just one. Just one. There's a shitload of others. Can we ask him about this one? Can aid workers not go into the Gaza Strip without being shot to death? If they're not being blown up, they're being shot up. Can we get some kind of accountability, please? I don't believe in this idea of let the terrorism rain down on Israel and let Hamas and the Houthis and Hezbollah reign supreme in the Middle East because somehow or another they're more conducive to a better Middle East than Israel. However, this cocksucking that conservatives are doing, the nut guzzling, the meat riding, it has to stop. It needs to stop. How can a man walk in here? A litany of war crimes committed under his leadership. Not a single IDF soldier has been singled out and presented to the international community and said, look, this individual right here is responsible for this crime. He is going to be handled and taken care of legally by the state. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to take care of it. Nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. The one guy who seemed like he was gonna get in trouble, a bunch of people protested for him to be released, and this was a guy who allegedly was violating prisoners with objects. You can use your imagination to what I mean by that. This is a diplomatic disaster. It is disrespectful. But it goes to show Donald Trump is an inhumane, psychotic animal. The man asked you, what do you think is going to bring about a deal? And it kind of seemed like the journalist was excited about the idea of cutting off international aid to Gaza. I haven't heard a single plan put in place for how to speak to the Palestinian people, to compel them and convince them Hamas is not the way. Hamas is not the answer. Let's give this one final try. I personally think it's over. I don't think the IDF is interested, Netanyahu is interested in living side by side with Palestinians at all. I think this is the end. I think October 7th was it. That was basically the end of this conflict permanently. And with a nincompoop like Trump in office, who is a criminal himself, there is no hope for Palestinian independence over the course of the next 10 years. Because Trump has no intention of leaving office. And I can only imagine what him and Netanyahu have planned as they begin to engage in the boiling frog strategy of slowly but surely conditioning the world into accepting a new reality in which basically whatever they want goes. This new axis of evil of the United States, Russia, and Israel, because it seems like that's where things are basically heading right now. Netanyahu is in the White House, and Trump, like, nothing to be said about the crimes, no pressure, no nothing. Nothing at all. They don't care. They sat there for 2 years saying no more money can go to Ukraine because we need to spend money here on the American people. Come to find out, they have nothing to ask of Israel. We continue to send them weapons and money, and they embarrass us in so many different ways like you've never seen before. And Ukraine, despite having done nothing of the sort, is left to dry. Just left to we leave them to just to die. That's American foreign policy today. You demand your allies to do backflips and cartwheels and splits for you. Meanwhile, Israel, who barely even needed our help at all, are welcomed in with no critiques, no nothing. No questions, no inquiries, no grilling, no nothing. At all. And we're having conversations about withholding international aid. That's not an option. You blew up everything in Gaza. These people need food. They need medical supplies. Well, this isn't a discussion. This isn't a debate. You blew up everything. You can't have it every which way. Okay, we're going to blow up all of the infrastructure. These people can't cook none. They can't clean none. They can't do shit. And we're going to starve you. You can't have it both ways. By destroying all of their infrastructure, you have basically engaged in a form of almost starvation. Now, thankfully, they're not starving, but to think that cutting that off is appropriate when they have no other means by which to feed themselves is insane. Insane. And this is considered reasonable foreign policy by the conservative government. They think this is appropriate. There has to be a reasonable middle ground here. I understand why Hamas and the Houthis and Hezbollah cannot be allowed to just rummage about and attack Israel whenever they so please and cause geopolitical mayhem. I'm not an idiot. But this? Free reign to just do as you please, how you please, with no questions, no inquiries, no nothing? And then to top it all off, Donald Trump pulls the man's chair out for him. Donald Trump respects nobody. It is actually weird and terrifying how conservatives demand nothing from Israel and offer everything, even willing to pull out the man's chair. They bullied Zelensky, who was fighting for his life. Zelensky is fighting for everything that is left in Ukraine. This man is literally going around the world. No man wants to beg for anything, but he's doing it because he has to. As Zelensky is going around the world begging for international aid for his country, being bullied by Trump, this is the treatment Netanyahu gets after a litany of war crimes that he hasn't explained to anybody. Watch. Donald Trump respects nobody. Donald Trump puts in chairs for nobody besides Netanyahu and Modi. I do believe Donald Trump seems to have this sort of like hard on for dictators, this sort of weird love for them. It's odd, it's corny, it's weird, it needs to stop. It's just disgusting, frankly. I'm not one of these like crazy far left people who thinks that you can take intersectionality and throw it into foreign policy. But there is something to be said that the leftists have some point about, where it's like, there is like no accountability here. Israel basically has carte blanche to commit a litany of war crimes, despite being the more powerful force, and has no accountability, the likes of which we've never seen before, as Trump would love to say. It's incomprehensible how a nation state can demand to be treated like any other civilized Western state and then commit all these war crimes, and there's like nothing that comes from it. We don't get names, we don't get anything. It's just, well, we're just going to ignore that. Israel's our greatest ally, which is demonstrably false. And this is what we get. No accountability. It's not fair. And it's a damn shame that the majority of the people who call for accountability for Israel don't give a fuck about accountability from Russia. There needs to be some kind of actual care, some kind of fuck given about this situation, but I'm not seeing any. It's disgusting. It's sad. That's one way of putting it. And it's embarrassing. The United States can do better, but I don't know if we will. I don't know if we will. Trump continues to slurp up Israel to no end. No end. With no end in sight, by the way. It's sick. It is truly sick. And he goes on the typical ramble-bamble about Gaza being perfect beachfront property. Can you at least show some semblance of respect to everyone who's died there? I know he probably only respects the IDF soldiers who died in the Gaza Strip fighting Hamas. Can we show some respect to the children, the women, the men, the innocent people, probably some of which still under the rubble? No, nothing? Like, if you're going to advocate for warfare, have some respect for the dead. You can't even get that from these niggas. You can't even get that. You can't even get that. If you're going to advocate for warfare and death, can you respect the dead? He can't. And he advocates for ethnic cleansing, pretending like the surrounding Arab states want Palestinians. No, they don't. Number one, the surrounding Arab states do not want to co-sign the ethnic cleansing of people they have cultural commonality with. Period. They don't want to sit there and co-sign that. They're not going to co-sign that. Number one. Number two, Palestinians, this is just a historical fact, have a track record, proven track record of trying to assassinate heads of states of Arab countries that they move into and trying to stage terror attacks from Arab states that they move into. Arab states have almost nothing to gain from co-signing this ethnic cleansing and almost everything to lose. Donald Trump does not give a shit about any of these realities, the historical reality, the geopolitical reality, the moral reality of ethnic cleansing. He doesn't care. This nigga does not care. And this is our president. This is our president. Joe Biden, if you can hear us, please save us. Joe Beasy, if you can hear us, please save us. That nigga somewhere laughing right now. I know Biden gotta be somewhere laughing. This nigga gotta be somewhere laughing. Oh, hey, if I was Biden, I'd be somewhere in my recliner laughing at this shit. They thought Biden was bad. They thought Biden was bad. Yo, they thought Biden was a disaster. Boy, you niggas about to find out. You niggas about to find out. Over there slandering Robinette. Boy, y'all about to find out, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all. Trump ain't playing. Trump is the devil. Or a soldier of the devil. Something like that. A minion. Great beachfront property. Many people are saying they love the ethnic cleansing. I get DMs. They tell me they love it. It's great. More ethnic cleansing, they say. Sir, you're doing such a great job. Ethnically cleansing the people. I expect him to say that at some point. Many people are telling me the ethnic cleansing is so great. It's the greatest cleansing you've ever seen. You can't put anything past this nigga. I'm so serious. He's gonna start claiming many people have told him that this was a great idea. This nigga just, like, I don't know who's telling him this shit. Besides, like, radical, like, Israelis and, like, insane Christo-fascists in America, no one else is telling him this shit. Lord have mercy, bro. I don't know if we're getting out of this one, guys. I think it's over. I think we're